Welcome to Bad Dice, the UK's first Warhammer Fantasy Battle podcast. We bring you news, reviews and updates from all around the UK tournament scene. Your hosts are Ben Curry and Ben Johnson. We hope you enjoy the show, and if you do, be sure to let us know. You can contact us on thebens@baddice.co.uk or leave a positive review on iTunes. Alright guys, welcome to episode 46 of the Bad Dice podcast. I'm your host, Ben Curry.
And I'm the co-host, Ben Johnson.
And we're here again to talk about all things Warhammer.
Warhammer, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the Island of Blood in front of us. It's been released about a week ago, and you've been assembling yours like a mad assembling type man, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a few Skaven sat in front of us, isn't there?
Yeah, more than a few.
Quite a lot, actually. But a productive week.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. You've got all sorts here, so we'll get into that in a little while in our Fortnights in Fantasy. So before that, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, and we're going to lead out with a brand new sponsor. So we'd like to say hello and welcome to the Bad Dice family, to Battle Foam. Battle Foam, you've probably heard if you listen to other shows and if you look at the internet and if you haven't been living under a rock, they do put themselves about a bit. So Battle Foam, what do they do, Ben?
They do army cases, basically. Really, really good ones.
Yeah. So I got given one. I got given their Flames of War one by John Matthews, who works for Flames of War.
I didn't get anything, by the way.
You didn't get nothing. No, you tend not to, because it comes through me and then I keep it. Likewise, anything you get, you keep. I've noticed this.
Like what?
Like the books that you snaffled and the movement trays that you've snaffled and a few other bits and bobs. Anyway, back to Battle Foam.
Yeah.
So I got given one of their bags, and I was quite amazed by it, really. I'd seen it on the net and heard about other people talking about them. And I thought, it's only a figure case, how good can it be? I got given one of these. None of my figures fit in it because it's the Flames of War one, but I still managed to make a few of the Warhammer stuff fit in there. And I was really impressed at just the quality of the case itself, never mind the foam.
Yeah.
And then the cogs started wearing, thinking, if I get a custom Warhammer one, how good it'd be for the army. So in the meantime, I'd got in touch with Romeo from Battle Foam, and we've come up to a bit of a deal, and he's going to be on board for the next year. So he's going to be he's joined us on the Bad Dice experience. So yeah, check out battlefoam.com. You've been having to play around on the website, haven't you?
Yeah. The custom case converter.
Custom foam. They make custom foam to whatever you like, and they've got a design your own custom
Yeah, they've got
foam.
a design your own layout thing, but what they've got is they've got like a drop-down menu with basically anything you can think of.
Which is already a pre-cut shape, which you can then put into the foam how you like, press save, send it in, and they'll cut their foam to suit how you want it.
Yeah, and having all sorts of fun trying to fit things in random, weird ways.
Yeah, we've just been trying to fit 3 Screaming Bells into a standard Battle Foam tray, and which is quite fun.
Difficult.
Yeah, we got it in the end, though, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, 3 Screaming Bells in one tray. You see, they are
With
quite
in fairness
impressive.
as well, with a lot of room on the sides, where you could still get a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I reckon so. You could still get probably maybe a Doom Wheel in there as well. I don't know.
Maybe not Doom, but I bet you get a couple of Rat Ogres.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
tucked in.
definitely.
That's the thing. That's the beauty of it, I suppose, because it's and cut whatever you want. You can fit it in however it'll fit.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't just have to be laid out in rows. It can just be boom, 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 wherever.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be ordering one. I'm going to be ordering the Pack 720, which holds 720 models if you just go for the infantry trays.
Yeah.
I think by the time I've finished stuffing it full of Hydras, Dragons, and other whatnots, it won't quite hold 700 models, but it'll still be pretty good. The biggest thing is my Dark Riders are getting battered, coming in and out of cases at the moment, so they need some custom holes for them to sit in.
I think so. We've just been having a mess, haven't we? Seeing how big a hole you'd need, and I think you'd be better off with them just drawing around them and sending that in.
Yeah, more than likely. Okay, so that's Battle Foam. On to our other sponsors. So the guys at Unseen Lurker have just extended their sponsorship with us, so they're going to be on board for a few more episodes. Issue 5, apparently, hot off the press. It's coming soon. If you're going to the Warlords GT this weekend, Brian Carmichael will be there. So badger him about where issue 5 is, because it'll be on its way soon. It's about 2 months since the last one. So
It's been a while, hasn't it?
yeah, well, every 2 months the issue comes out, and it's just a general gaming magazine, mainly about Warhammer, but they have bits of other stuff in there. Last issue was a big article of War Machine by Russ Wakeland from the D6 Generation podcast. It's a good read, and it wasn't from the standard War Machine, we hate Games Workshop point of view. It was more of, if you like Games Workshop, you might like this.
Yeah.
If you fancy something different in between your games of Warhammer or Warhammer 40k, try a game of Hordes and War Machine.
Does that wind you up?
What, the hate?
Yeah.
It does a bit, yeah, because I don't see... I quite like the idea of Flames of War, of War Machine, of any of the other Privateer Press, whatever. I quite like to play both, and then it seems once you go over to Privateer Press, you automatically have to hate Games Workshop.
Yeah,
it's like the initiation
It's
ride.
like the rule, isn't it?
But like I said, this article in the issue 4 of Unseen Lurker wasn't anything like that, so it was really good read. And they got the battle reports. There's another battle report in issue 5, starring Asger from the last episode of our show. So yeah, check that out. It'll be out shortly. That's unseenlurker.com. You can buy it from there. You can subscribe from there as well. Okay, next up we've got...
Our games.
Yep, and Odd Games do what, Ben?
Sell toys, basically. Anything you want, wargaming related, and Ollie will sort you out.
Yeah, so the new hotness which I've been using and you've been using is magnets, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, I ordered an Island of Blood and some other random scaven off Ollie. And I also ordered some magnets and magnetic sheeting, but I'd used it all. He brought me that at Cardiff. And I'd used it all sticking another Island of Blood set together before the one from Ollie had arrived. And I just texted him saying, Ollie, any chance of putting another 150 magnets in? Yeah, no problem.
I'll invoice you.
yeah. It's like my own crack dealer.
So you've had a load of stuff off him recently, haven't you? What have you
Yes.
had? An Island of Blood, a Screaming Bell.
a bell, a doom wheel, paint, magnets, and then a couple of weeks ago I also had a load of magnetic sheeting and a load of magnets, which he was more than happy to bring to the tournament for me.
Excellent. And a good price?
Yeah, 15% off.
15% off all Games Workshop, isn't it?
Yep.
And they do a massive range of all sorts of different wargaming bits and bobs. They do Xbox games, board games,
Card
everything.
games.
So check out oggames.co.uk. They've also got a forum, which is ogforum.co.uk, and they've got quite a community going on there. So yeah, that's Og Games. Thanks to them guys. Next up, we've got Back to Basics. That's back to base-ix.com. Quite a mouthful, but they do resin bases, don't they?
Yes.
And
moving trays.
yeah, and you can get them cut. You can get made in any sort of shapes and sizes, different sort of preformed scenic bases and things like that. And yeah, there's some fantastic stuff on there. Adds a lot to an army, doesn't it?
It can do,
These
yeah.
bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been itching to get myself some skirmish movement trays, because I've just spent God knows how long making some out of plastic card and magnets, and I thought, why didn't I just buy some from Back to Basics? But I think the website's down at the moment. They're undergoing a bit of an update to the site, so hopefully by the time you hear this, it'll be back up, and you can check out the new look Back to Basics site. So it's back to base-ix.com. And last but not least, Rankings HQ. So these guys do all sorts of stuff. It's not just a ranking site. The latest thing they've got is they've got new icons. So if you've won,
I've just noticed that earlier on in the week, yeah.
if you've won a tournament in the last year,
A maximum point scoring tournament.
yes. So no, if you've won them, if you come first in a tournament, it doesn't matter if it's maximum points. If you've got the most points available at an event, you will get an icon next to your name with a little trophy. You're shaking your head. You're saying no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I read was if you've won a maximum point scoring tournament, i.e. 100, you get a little golden trophy.
Ah, got you. So you get a little golden icon next to your name.
Yes.
So it quite intrigued me, this did, because I looked at the English ones. I think all of the top 10 have got one.
Yeah. Well, you're really going to have to, aren't you?
But the thing is, I looked at the Australian one, and say only 5 of the top 10 had got one. So I didn't know, is that down to the English tournament scene at the moment being so popular and
It might be.
being so many tournaments available?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, that was for sure. And there's also ETC icons. So if you
Yes.
played for your ETC team ever, you get an ETC player icon next to your name, which is quite nice. So yeah, some good stuff coming out of Rankings HQ. And like I say, it's not just the rankings. They've got blogs, they've got the Tournament Overlord software.
News articles.
Articles, yeah. Clubs, you can keep in touch with all your club members there. Yeah, and much, much more. So that's rankingshq.com. So moving swiftly on, we're going to go into our fortnights in fantasy. And what have you been up to?
Well, building a Skaven army.
Yeah, building this
Predominantly.
mess on the table. So, I reckon there must be over 100 models, maybe getting over 200 rats in front of us here.
I don't think there's as many as that, but there's quite a lot upstairs as well.
Yeah, so you've just spent the last... What's the plan? Just rather than doing one unit at a time, blitz the whole army and get it built?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get everything built and converted, and then start painting, basically.
Yeah, have you got a colour scheme down yet?
Yeah, but it's not gone down very well.
No?
No, it's blue and yellow.
IKEA rats.
IKEA rats, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen it.
A muddy blue and yellow, not bright, luminous blue and yellow. Before.
I don't know. I've seen it. I'm not sure. The problem is, I think you painted your giant rats first.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show off the colour scheme very well because there's only one Skaven
Only
on
one
there.
Skaven on there, yeah.
I think paint a unit of slaves up or something like that.
Well, the slaves are going to be brown anyway, aren't they? Because they're slaves. But yeah, I mean, I need to paint. I'm painting one tester guy, which I think came out quite nice. I quite like it. But obviously, one guy compared to 30 guys in a unit, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll paint a few more up and see how it goes. And if it's not working, I'll have to go to red and white and green like everyone else.
Yeah, of course. So what are you going for with the army? Are you going for a top standard Golden Demon style, every model's a winner, or are you going for a quick and dirty wash special?
I think somewhere in between my Empire, which were just base coat and ink, and my Orc army, which was pretty good if I say so myself.
Top standard orcs.
Yeah. The ones I've been doing, I've had sort of 2 or 3 highlights on, but not highlights straight out of the pot, if you know what I mean. So it's base coat, ink it, back with a base coat, and then things like Deneb stone on top, and then a little nick of white. So like the flesh is Talon flesh, Deneb stone across the knuckles, then ink it, whack again with a Deneb stone, nick of white on the tops, and that's it.
Do you just use the Games Workshop paints, or and just the foundations as well?
Yeah, pretty much.
By the sounds of that,
almost the whole thing's been painted just with foundations, black and white,
and washes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So there's some photos of this up on the Snake Eyes section.
There is, yep.
So if you want to see them, you can head over to baddice.co.uk/Snake Eyes and just follow the links from there. It takes you to the forum, and you can go to the premium content section to see them. Now, you're also going for a bit of a theme running through the army as a whole, aren't you? So you want to talk about this a bit?
Yeah, you can do. Even though you've been taking the mickey out of me for it.
No, I like it. I just think the execution is not my cup of tea, but I see where you're coming from.
Basically, the idea is it's Skaven fighting dwarfs.
Okay.
So I've got things like my Rat Ogre on a Bone Breaker is the Creek model stood on top of the old Anvil of Doom.
Yep, love it.
Either that or it can be a unit filler for Storm Vermin.
Yeah.
If I don't take a Bone Breaker. And then I've got the giant rats are all clambering over broken down dwarf war machines. And
you've got, it's literally all the old 4th and 5th edition
yeah, all the old
metals,
stuff.
which people pay a fortune for on eBay, and you've just ragged apart and chucked all over your bases.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much.
And there's rats, giant rats, Packmasters clambering all over them, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are looking pretty good.
And for them as well, the Master Moulders I've managed to get hold of. Well, I say managed to get hold of. I've bought the Squeal and the Throt models. So again, really nice models.
Yeah. Just to give an extra something in each unit.
And then the Packmasters, I've just used the new Clan Rats with the old Packmaster whip arms.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they match in a lot better. The old Packmasters aren't.
Oh, the old, you mean the Rat Ogre plastic? Rat Packmasters. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used the arm off that on a new Clan Rat.
Yeah.
Because I think the old ones
they fit in a bit better, don't they?
They're a bit dated. Same with the Plague Monks. So if anyone wants to buy 40 Plague Monks, still on the sprues, let me know.
Oh, right, okay. Why is that? Because you've had 2 battalions.
I've had 2 battalions, and I really don't like the Plague Monks. Having seen them and looked at them, compared to the new Clan Rats, they look quite dated.
Okay. So what are you thinking for your Plague Monks?
Old metal ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this the other day, wasn't we? You wasn't so sure.
I wasn't sure, no, but I can't think of anything else to do.
Okay, what about something like Storm Vermin and just green stuff them up a bit?
Because I'm not that good with green stuff. I can gap fill. I can do a bit of fur at a push.
Okay,
but that's
fair enough.
it.
Would you not be good at that after you've done 40 of them?
Yeah, probably. But I've got a 250 model army to paint.
Yeah, okay. Fair
Converting
enough.
Plague Monks is not that well. And the old metal ones are very nice.
Yeah, they are. These
You know
are.
what I mean?
You're talking about the 5th edition metals.
Yeah, they probably are 5th edition, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm also as well going to get some. Might cost me a fortune, but some of the new plague sensors and try and get some of the old plague sensors as well in the unit.
Just to give it some height, because they're all swinging the flails over their heads, aren't they?
Make it look a bit different. Also, as well, I've got an idea for a unit filler with that involving the old Throne of Power.
So how will a unit filler work when there's a furnace in there, or are we doing 2 units?
Just take the unit filler out when you put the furnace in.
Right, so you're not going to run the unit filler in with the furnace as well?
Might do. I don't know.
Yeah, depends what formations that you're running.
And then the clan rats have got gyrocopters sort of buzzing around the heads.
Yeah,
Again.
so this is the bit I was unsure of, because at first it looked like every clan rat unit had a rat ogre in, and they were all catching a gyro.
Yeah.
And I thought very coincidental that all these rat ogres are very good at catch, and they all caught at the same time.
They're specially trained from,
I think you've had some change of ideas with these, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got warp fire thrower blasting a gout of flames at one. Well, I say that it's blasting a gout of plastic sprue at the
moment. Yeah,
that needs some fire building around.
Obviously, the problem you're having is suspending them in the air.
Yeah,
and having them stay there and still hide the pins and things like that.
Hide the pins.
So
also, not massively overbalanced because they're still going to be used to game with, and they're the smaller metal gyrocopters.
So you've got a Garter Flame going up from a warp fire thrower in the unit.
That's right, yeah.
You've got a Rat Ogre taking one. Are you going to do the Garter Flame steam coming down?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd look really good. I fancied the whips as well. I think you should do...
No, the whips was a terrible idea.
Oh, mate, no. Think of it. You got the Packmasters, 4 of them in one rat unit.
With the execution of it, it'd be impossible.
Yeah,
not impossible, but it'd be so difficult to get it to look like the whips were actually wrapped around it and still holding it up. It would be...
I think you could get away with it, and the reason is, hear me out, is because you could have it flying up away from the unit, meaning all of the whips would be pulled taut. So when it's a straight pin, you could get away with it, especially if you use a big fat pin, 4 of them, and you could paint the braids of the whips on.
I disagree.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think that'll... Anyway, not the point. So I think the other one will be steam gunning, but then the problem with that is it's the angle.
Now, we've talked about this as well, and back to our games.
Yeah.
Now, these rare earth magnets you get, when I went to Spitalfields Market in London 6 months ago, just a random shopping trip, and they had the magnets, so he had a sheet of steel, and he had the Times newspaper being held up by a single rare earth magnet. Times is quite a chunky newspaper for those that don't know. Yeah, so if you can get one magnet to hold a newspaper to the wall, I'm sure that same magnet can go in the base of your 40mm base that holds the pin up to the gyro, and that'll magnetise it to a steel sheet movement tray, and you'll be able to do it.
I think that's the key. I think the magnetic paper is fine for sticking a plastic model down with a rare earth magnet, but I mean you notice. I mean where I paint, I've got a radiator next to me, and that's generally where I keep the magnets. Just throw them at the radiator. And they obviously stick so much better to actual steel. So I think maybe getting a piece of steel or a washer and stick that into the movement tray so that the magnet's got something to grip onto.
I think you can just get a bit of 3mm or 2mm steel cut for the base.
Yeah, that'd work as well. But yeah, so that's the other one. I don't know.
But yeah, it's looking great, and the gyros do exactly what you want to do. They're giving it a lot of height, because obviously the clan rats, they're so small. And
well, the thing I had it in sort of my mind's eye of the Skaven army, coming onto the battlefield.
Unstoppable Skaven assault, and the gyros buzzing around and harassing.
Yeah. That was the idea.
And yeah, it's working. It's definitely working. I do like how it's looking.
Got lots of the special characters in there as well.
So, have you played any games, or have you written any lists?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
So you're just building everything?
I'm just building a bit of everything and then taking it from there.
Okay.
Well, I say bit of everything, like one of everything,
Well, I think normally it'd be one of everything. With Skaven, it's 100 of everything.
Well, yeah, it's it's a doom wheel, a belt, a furnace, I need to come up with a warp lightning cannon idea as well. But I'm struggling with that one at the minute.
Yeah, you're not got. I mean, Trent Dennison had an awesome warp lightning cannon at the ETC. You're not going to shamelessly rob his idea.
No, I've got an old flame cannon, the old wooden one.
Oh yeah, you're going to.
Which I want to do something with. But when I went to GW to buy the other half of my Skaven army, they didn't have any in stock because it's direct only, and so I didn't get an older one.
So what are you still after?
But then my mate says to me, "Oh yeah, I've got warp lightning cannons still in the box. You can have."
I've got 2 warp lightning cannons.
So why have you not brought one round?
Well, we'll discuss this later.
Okay.
No, I've got warp lightning cannon. We'll sort that out.
Sorted. So yeah,
In fact, I'm going to keep it and hold it hostage against you getting the rest painted first.
I've just gone buy one then.
Oh, idiot.
Yeah, so I think something with the old dwarf flame cannon could work.
Yeah, that would look good. A raw bit of warpstone just grafted onto the
nailed
side
into
of it.
the side of it. Yeah. I've got a bell that I've built, which is in 12 pieces to paint.
We're going to paint it all separate.
Well, I can't see any other way of doing it, to be honest.
Are you not worried about once you paint it and then glue it together, it's going to make a mess of the gluing onto the paint?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. It's plastic, so there's not a lot of weight it needs to carry. So I think it'll be okay. But as I was sticking it together, I was like, how on earth are you going to ever paint this? Do you know what I mean? Especially the rat ogre and the bell part of it. It's just...
Yeah, it's a bit of a beefy. Yeah, you stuck your doom wheel together and that's all done. And
well, no, the doom wheel, I've not stuck the side spurs on. Do you know what I mean?
Right, so you can get you can get your brush in to paint.
You can get into the middle, relatively easily.
Okay.
And I think the difference between the wheel and the bell is the stuff really in the middle of the doom wheel. It's so close together.
You can hit it with a dry brush.
You can dry brush it, and then it'll be fine because you can't really see it that well. Whereas the bell is not open enough to be able to get in and paint, but not close tight enough that you can't really see it.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
So currently that's in 12 bits that need to get stick to lollipop sticks and all sorts to paint. But however, then speaking to Adam Hall, who's been running Skaven, says the bell is just pap.
Not worth using. Okay.
The war machines kill it all.
Right, well, on that note, so what are you thinking for a list without having written anything, just ideas around your head?
I really like the bell. I love the model more than anything. It's stunning. So I'm thinking, Gracie.
Don't say something you're going to regret.
I'm thinking, yeah.
I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it for a year.
Yeah,
no,
well, we've got one of them in front of us as well, haven't we?
Boobies.
Boobies the Griffin.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I might start with that and see how that plays out. Probably quite badly, quite quickly.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it obviously it suffers from the cannons hitting both parts of the model, doesn't it? But then on the flip side of that is you get to ring it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And you could kill the cannons.
Yeah.
And once it's in combat as well, you don't, you know what I mean? It's not going to be shot with cannons.
No. And also as well, again, listening to the Asger interview from last time, being able to move with it out of sequence.
Yes. Not many things can.
There's not a lot that can, is there? So,
especially with a triple march banner and then a ring.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that triple march banner.
Yep.
A lot. So yeah, other than that, I'm thinking, a bell. I like the little single engineers running around. And I've been quite enjoying making some engineers as well. So I think they could be quite cool. 4 or 5 of them.
Yep. So the single engineers are useful because they just give the slave units leadership.
Extra leadership. And also as well, if you start running around, once they've done that, they can run around on their own, 15 points, getting in the way. Yeah,
they're a bump stop, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just be careful because when they die, they panic.
Yeah.
Cause panic and things.
Well, that's another thing as well with weapons teams.
Yeah, so what have you... Now, your clan rats, you've been stuffing weapons teams in the actual units, haven't you, as sort of like extra men in...
Yeah, well, what I noticed with the new clan rats is what I originally tried to do was get, in the space of a unit of, say, 20 slaves, get 30 models.
Yeah, so it looks like a horde.
So it looks like a real horde.
This was my idea for the undead, wasn't it? Which I never did.
That's right. I then discovered that's trickier than it sounds to actually do because they're not that small.
No.
And also as well, I couldn't help but think, is it going to be a problem when you're playing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, people go off base sizes.
Well, yeah, but then because the unit's going to be that full, you're not going to see the bases.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But,
and true line of sight, once you're packing men in, seeing through the unit, and
yeah. Basically, more of an aesthetic reason. It didn't look as good as I thought it was going to. Because the clan rats, as nice a models as they are really quite...
There's nothing to them, is there?
There's nothing, no. And they're all in pretty much the same pose. So the slaves, to be honest with you, look really good of just slaves with nothing going on in the units. None of them really want to...
Heads down, running forward.
Heads down, running forwards. They've all got the tiniest little weapons off the sprues I could find. Some of them haven't even got weapons. I've just cut the weapons out of the hand. They've just got two hands. Fisticuffs. And then the clan rats, I've got all sorts in there. I've got, like I say, rat ogres with the gyrocopters. Even the one with the warpfire thrower on the gyrocopter's got a rat ogre in one of the new ones. They've got extra banners in the unit. So they've got a big banner off the storm vermin sprue in the front. And then throughout the unit, they've got...
There's bits of sticks and banners and
the clan
and
rats
icons.
banners and all that sort of stuff. And they've also got a couple of the plastic weapons teams out of Island of Blood in there as well.
Excellent. So have you got photos of all of this stuff online, or
No, not
just
yet.
the painted ones?
Just the painted ones, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's about it for your Skaven. So have you been doing much else for modelling?
Oh yeah, I painted a griffin. I say painted. I converted him as well.
So you took the Island of Blood Griffin and put an Empire guy on the top, yeah?
Yeah, basically. And I thought it was relatively easily. I've seen a lot of people on the internet complaining, saying that they can't convert the Island of Blood stuff.
So what have you done with it?
Well, I push fitted it all together, which I thought was inspired, to be honest with you. The way it goes together is so clever. It really is. On release day, we were sat in Bugman's Bar, me and Pete, and we were just watching kids snipping it off and pushing it together.
It's great, isn't it?
You know what I mean? In like a minute.
See, I've not bought one yet, and I don't think I'm going to. However, I do want some of the executioners, some of the swordmasters to make some executioners, so I might have to purchase some. But yeah, the boob is the griffin with the...
Yeah,
he's looking good. Although I did say earlier, he looks more like an eagle, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I know it's the head of an eagle and the body of a lion and all that.
It's not huge, but then
the wings are.
The wings are massive, yeah. And his front claws are also incredibly large, very small little head.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it looks good. You've done a good job.
Converting him was easy. Just take the elf out. Most of the body of the elf is attached to the griffin. The cloak, the lance is all attached to the griffin. It's very hard to explain, to be honest with you, without you seeing it.
So you just took a big knife to it and carved it off?
Kind of, yeah. I carved one half off, no problem. And then the other half, where he's holding the reins, I had to sort of snip around to leave his hand and the reins in place.
And you stuck the Empire arm onto the hands?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. That's good.
Got the Empire, the mounted hero body, cut him off at the knees, plonked him on, scribed him in, basically. And then...
to be fair, it is a bit of a White Dwarf conversion you've got in your hands. You've gone, plastic from Island of Blood.
Yeah.
I've bought the Empire plastic box set.
Yeah.
And I've bought the Games Workshop plastic trees and plastic fence set.
Yeah.
But it looks great.
Fanboy me.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good. And it's all plastic. Which is another good thing. I mean, a lot of people don't like the plastics, they like the metals, but I'm loving the fact that you can get everything plastic.
Well, this Skaven army that I've been converting has obviously got a lot of metal in, which has meant a lot of pinning, a lot of fucking about.
It's doing your head in.
Which I've not had to do for a best part of a year, because all my Empire army was all plastic.
And your Warriors.
And the Warriors army was all plastic.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I think that's enough from your modelling. As for me, like I said, I made some movement trays earlier. I picked up some magnetic sheet, some plasticard, and set about with me ruler and me Stanley knife to cut some skirmish movement trays for me.
How are your fingers?
You're all right, actually. I bought a safety ruler. Because I'm not... Yeah, it's like a normal metal ruler, but it's got a raised up centre with a groove in what you can put your fingers in, so you're not going to chop your fingers off while you're using your flat metal ruler, what you've got. The only reason I bought it is because it was the only one in the shop.
Oh, my Lord.
So, yeah, I've made some of them. I'll stick some photos of them up online, but they are... I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about these skirmish movement trays. It seems like a lot of messing about for what you get.
I like them, I'll be honest with you. And I also think as well it can look really cool.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's just when you need to pull them out, when they get charged, you need to squash them in and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know. I think... I've not struggled with the Huntsman. I've had 10 of them. But
okay.
they don't charge a lot, and then whatever they do charge tends to kill them.
And if something charges them, they run away.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just sort of leave them there and let them die. I don't know.
It's not so much. I mean, my stuff I've been using them in 5s. I'm thinking like Dryads on 25 mil bases with a lot of them. You might struggle then, but I don't know. Not sure. Either way, it took me ages, and I've only made 4 movement trays.
Do you need to take them off? See, what I've been
Probably
doing
not.
quite a lot with, like I say, with the Huntsman is when they have been charged,
Just leaving them.
leaving them where they are. Obviously, if they then get charged in the rear or the flank or something wants to move past them, then it's a bit of a different issue.
Yeah.
But other than that, they've just been sat there, and like when I played Bigs, they fought Fiend. So it's like, right, I get 8 guys fighting back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can work that out. Leave them where they are, no messing.
It's not so much that as well. It's the fact that you change formation a lot with skirmishes. Certainly if you're shooting.
Yeah.
Marching, shooting, reforming a lot. I don't know. I'll get used to it. I'll get on with it.
So what about then if you made like a 3x3?
Or 3 and a 2 and have them detachable. Stick magnets in them or something. Could do.
Or just, if you've only got to move one guy to one side, that's not that tricky, is it?
No.
Of keeping them in line.
No. No, maybe, yeah, I'll cope. Other than that,
It's
I'm
a
not
hard
really,
life, isn't it? All these shades running around.
Yeah, 15 of them, 3 inches of 5. It's hard to keep track of all the little buggers. So I've not done any other modelling really. I've been a bit off it. I painted a couple of War Machine men because when I bought the box of me,
Ooh, hate.
yeah, hate the War Machine. I bought a box and there was some swords missing, so I had to wait for them to come through the post. So I've painted them. Other than that, I've not really done much. I've got 2 Pegasus Riders on my desk, ready to be painted for the weekend's tournament, which we'll get to in a minute. And I've not really, I don't know, I can't bring myself to start. There's no painting points, so maybe I'll just use them because they're already painted, but they're in my old colour schemes. I was going to update them a little bit.
Are there no painting points?
Well, you get points if it's painted,
Yeah.
but a borrowed model in a fully painted army with another fully painted borrowed model in won't cause a problem.
Okay.
And that's it, I think.
Well, there's something to talk about. We spoke about this a minute ago, didn't we? About painting points.
Yeah, this trend for painting points seems to be dying down, doesn't it? It used to be the fact that everywhere gave a big amount of soft scores to painted armies, and it seems to be dying off. I think maybe that's because the editions are quite new, and people are wanting to get sort of a pure look at it, rather than seeing how the gaming goes, rather than seeing soft scores interfere. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say it was happening in the last edition.
Do you not
as well.
think it's been happening for the last year?
I think another thing is the trend of larger tournaments with 100-player events.
Marking armies, yeah.
Organisers are wanting the trouble of going around and marking all the armies and getting a consistent score across them all.
That's very true.
But other than that, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I go to them with, I go to them without. It's not an issue. It's just an observation. Yeah, and you have got a point because we have noticed it. It is a trend that seems to be fluctuating a
Do
bit.
you think it's the not the downfall, but the lack of WPS kind of events? Because that was where it was major, wasn't it? It was the WPS painting chart.
Yes.
The old, was it 4,800 points you got?
Or something like that. I don't know. But the complaint was it was never consistent.
Yeah? No, I'm not.
I remember every Card Journey Home was complaining about soft scores of some sort.
Yeah.
Subjective ones.
Yeah.
Whereas people like to know where they stand. And obviously the Warlords GT last year had a bit of flack after it because of painting scores.
I think that was more the fact that, getting an extra 1,000 points for a dragon that you'd bought.
Well, maybe.
Was that not there? That no one believed you'd repaint it.
No, fair enough. I don't know. It is. I think it's down. I think it's purely down to the popularity of the tournament scene at the moment, and the amount of players going to events, and the amount of work that it's just put on tournament organisers. And obviously, they don't want to struggle. They want it to run as smoothly as possible, with as little complaints as possible. And abolishing soft scores or abolishing the degree in variety of soft scores is one way of going about that.
Yeah, fair point.
Okay, so gaming, have you been doing much?
Yeah, played a few. Okay, might have played 2. Yeah,
so
2.
I've only played 1. Have you learnt much? We're not going to go into game by game, but Izio, that's come up, and so what have you played against? You played against?
I played against Michael Biggs a I can't remember if we've spoke about this, to be honest with you. I don't think so.
No.
No, fine. Played as demons.
Yeah.
Learned that 50 horrors is a pain in the arse.
Yes.
Learned that Bloodthirster can't hide from anything.
No.
And that's probably about it, really. Some issues with line of sight came up in that game regarding
With your
template
mortar
weapons.
behind a hill wanting to shoot everything on the table. From what I can remember.
No, it wasn't behind a hill. It was on a hill. But then you have to see the whole of the template was the question.
The wording issues on the
The
rules.
wording issues, and then the counter, well, not counter argument, the counter point to that was, where do you place the template? Does the template need to be at the highest point of the unit? Because obviously, if you put it on a unit and some dude's got a spear in the air,
Yep, or a banner, which
or a
every
banner,
unit seems to have.
do you know what I mean? That means you can't see the whole of the template
Because the banner's in the way.
because the banner's in the way. So where'd you put it?
Yeah,
You know, it's an odd one.
yeah.
That I don't know. GW need to look at, or tournament organisers need to look at, and figure something out with that. I don't know. That was a funny one.
So what did you think to the 40 horrors with the two heralds in?
Very, very good.
Yeah, I
Very,
thought so
very,
as well.
very good.
Yeah, was Michael running the 12 flamers?
No, he only had 6.
Okay.
6 flamers. I think 20 demonettes with a herald in.
Yep.
Which when he grew them back, and I thought, it's fine. I stopped throwing the vines. Or I tried to stop throwing the vines. Couldn't. He only rolled about a 7 or something like that.
Yeah, and you failed.
I failed it on like 3 or 4 dice, and then he regrew the demonettes, and I thought,
He rolled a 6, didn't he?
I'll let that go. Rolls a 6, gets 8 of them back, and I'm like, oh well, that's just
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
yeah. And he also got what's the wood one or the thorns one where it kills you in
2d6
combat?
strength 4, is
Yeah,
it?
he got that off as well. And again, I chucked dice at that, trying to stop that, and again he rolled really low, and I couldn't stop it. And then I had no dice left with the regrow, so he killed. I had knights in the front, griffin in the rear. I think he did 4 wounds to the griffin, and about 4 wounds to the knights as well, and then grew 8 back, which ruined me basically.
He wasn't happy.
What can you do?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I'd done the right thing in I could only stop 2 out of the 3, even with decent rolls. Do you know what I mean? Or I could only stop 2 out of the 3, matching him 1 dice above, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I thought I've got a fair chance of stopping them both. Didn't stop it. Didn't stop any of them. And then when the last one, the regrow, he rolled a 6 on. So
Yeah.
I thought if I could stop the throne, stop one of the others, then the one that does go off isn't that bad.
No.
So, but hey ho.
Yeah, yeah. That's war on, isn't it?
I think that's something that people need to get down is the life, what you need to stop and what you need to let
Yes. I think you're right.
go. And I think stopping the vines is
Stop the throne of vines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because then your rerolls, your regrow's only D3 and everything's
much more manageable.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. Okay, so I've played quite a bit. I went down to Russ Veal's house, who's a regular on the tournament scene, one of the ETC members. He had a bit of a session with a few of us around. There was 6 of us there. There was myself, Dan from Heel and Hammer podcast. There was Paul and who else? There was, of course, Michael Biggs was there. The guy called Ben. You know everyone. You wasn't even there.
That's what I've been listening to today.
Yeah, you've been listening to Heel and Hammer today. So yeah, I'm not going to go into all the games blow by blow because we'll be here all night. We're going to do a bonus content show on that, so you'll be able to get that from the Snakehouse section over the next week or so. But basically, I took my Dark Elves down and we tried something new, something in store for the weekend at Warrington. I don't know. I tried a 7th edition style list and it seemed to work. The old Death Magic character assassination.
Do you want to run us through it, or are you saving it for the weekend?
I'm not sure. What do you think?
Save it for the weekend.
Save it for the weekend. Okay. Needless to say, I played a few games and I was quite impressed with the old skirmish style army. Still works quite well. Also, I played with a second list and Dark Elf Cavalry, Cold on Nights. So talk to me about Cavalry, Ben. You've been using big Cavalry blocks as well, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, mine aren't quite as hard-hitting as yours.
No, so I've been running 10 nights and a Cauldron of Blood.
Yeah.
I had been running more. Been running like 20 nights with Hydro Banner, Lord in there a lot, and I don't think you need it. 10 with the Cauldron of Blood, powering them up, and it's just, it's insane. The cavalry are so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet says no.
Yeah, but are you not also looking at the fact that they are the best shock cavalry around?
It's not just about the shock cavalry. It's about what they do on the... No, it's what they do on the table. They've got a zone of control in front of them, which people can't enter. They don't know how far you're going to charge.
Yeah.
Also, the distance, when you're 10 inches wide, and then you've got your 45-degree or whatever arcs of side, either side, the amount of...
You sound like Asger.
Why?
Because is that not exactly what he said?
Well, I'm just reiterating a point.
Yeah.
It is very,
Yeah,
very
they
good.
are, and especially when they're doing all that and hitting like a train.
Yes.
I think...
Most armies have a unit that can do that.
Not to that extent.
Empire have got the Inner Circle Knights with a warrior priest in there. Maybe not to that extent,
Not
but
to that
still
extent.
they hit very hard.
They do
Strength
hit hard,
6
yeah.
with hatred.
But
Chaos Knights, running 10 Chaos Knights with Khorne or something. They hit so hard.
yeah,
Dragon
but
Princes.
are they not twice the points?
Not really. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon Princes, again, not an awful lot more than...
I think the cavalry are still good. I think,
Yeah.
like you say, the internet poo-pooing them, I think is wrong. But I think you're looking at the very extreme end with the cold ones, especially with the Cauldron.
Yes.
It doesn't get much better than that.
No. The Cauldron does make it, yeah.
The Empire Knights that I've been using, they hit very hard, but I wouldn't like to rely on them. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, maybe not.
There's a lot of attacks back,
Yes.
and that's a lot of chances of rolling ones. And
Yes.
even if you average it out, you're losing more knights than you were, so then you need bigger units, which is more expensive, etc., etc., etc. I suppose one thing with the Cauldron as well, being immune to psych.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, I lost mine at Cardiff to a panic test when I'd got leadership 9 on them.
Why didn't you have the immune to panic banner?
Points, basically.
I'm sure you could have fit it.
Well,
Maybe.
hindsight,
It's a wonderful
yeah,
thing.
it is. But again, it's a lot of points, and it also means trying to keep the BSB, because it's got to be gone the BSB, keeping him alive.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult because all he can have is full plate armor on a barded steed.
Yeah, and he's quite important now, isn't he?
Yeah, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you're giving him a magic banner, he can't have any items. And again, like I say, you get 6 guys attacking him back. It doesn't take long before he's dead.
No, of course not.
So yeah, I don't know. I like the Knights at Cardiff. They were all right. They weren't outstanding,
No.
but they were okay.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it for our fortnight in fantasy. Is there else you want to add? You've been reading, haven't you? So
Yeah, I've been reading Darius's book, the guy that we've interviewed for this
yep.
episode.
So later in the show, you'll have an interview with Darius
Yeah,
and Nick
yeah.
from the Black Library. What do you think?
I really like it.
Yeah, see, I
I'll be
read
honest
it a
with you.
while ago, and I really, really enjoyed
Yeah.
it as well. The Warrior Priest.
Found it quite easy to read. I'm not a big reader, I'll be honest. And I don't like anything that's too hard work almost. And it's not. It's it's nice. It's fast paced and yeah, dead simple. No big words.
No.
Spot on.
Okay, so I've not been doing much reading. I was reading like a demon, and then I sort of ran out of books and ran out of steam, which I tend to do.
Yeah.
That's my reading habits. I'll read, and then and rest, and that's it. But however, I have been to the movies, and I've seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and I think it's film of the year for me so far.
Ah.
I was that impressed. Really good. I'm not.
Did you see 18?
No.
They fly a
What
tank in 18.
Okay, I need to watch 18.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand this. I'm not uber geek, so I know there's a lot of stuff in there. I know it's a comic,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a series of books as well. I don't know, it's a movie to me. You know what I mean?
Was there a lot of stuff you didn't get? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not that I didn't get it, it's that it just went over my head without me realising it was there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of references in there that I didn't even pick up on. I just
Right,
glossed, you know what I mean? And it didn't. I think that probably made it better for me.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have been saying it's like, oh, all the references, they weren't very good ones.
You don't
or-
get the book's better feeling, or
No, that's
sort of
exactly
thing.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is what I've missed out on, and I really enjoyed it. It's got a rocking soundtrack. It looks great. It's been well directed, well shot. And yeah, I bought the soundtrack as well, which is I don't think I've done before ever. Can't remember. I had the Iron Man Iron Man 2 soundtrack off you.
Yeah.
I can't remember ever buying another soundtrack, so I bought this one. And yeah, it's definitely good. So recommend Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Speaking about movies, it's an old one. Well, not old, but...
An oldie but a goodie.
Oh, it's Kick-Ass.
I've not seen this.
Nah, it was really good, don't get me wrong, but it's a bit up and down.
I've not seen it. I've really been fancying watching it.
Well, 1 minute, you've got a guy in effectively a wetsuit doing funny faces in a mirror. And then the next scene, there's a man getting burnt to death.
Oh, wicked.
So, yeah, it's sort of... it's a bit up and down. It's very good, but, yeah, a bit dark in places, I'll be honest.
I quite fancy it. Would you recommend it or not?
Oh, yeah, I'd recommend it. Oh, especially when they put the dude in the microwave.
Okay, I need to see this.
You can imagine how that ends, can't
Yes,
you?
yes.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. And the little girl, filthy little mouth on her, I tell you. Fantastic.
No wrong with little girls with filthy mouths.
Oh, mate, the words that come out of her mouth are just wrong for a flipping, 12-year-old.
Okay, I'll have to see this.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it's
definitely.
good.
So Scott Pilgrim and Kick-Ass will recommend both of them. Bad Daz says. Okay, so I think that's about it for our Fortnite in Fantasy. We're not going to do any news. The only news is Island of Bloods out. I think you can gather that by the way we've been talking about it. Oh, yeah. So High Elves. Do you want to...
He's got that wrote in his show notes as well.
Oh, maybe. So the new High Elves are out.
Yes.
Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, the new plastic range seems to be out. Well, or in store. We saw them in the black box, didn't we? What, on
3 plastic
Tuesday?
kits,
3
is it?
plastic kits, yeah.
So it's the Dragon Princes, the White Lions, and the Phoenix Guard.
Guard.
What do you think?
The White Lions look just like White Lions, if I'm honest. They don't look a massive change to the current metals.
No.
The Dragon Princes, I think, are fantastic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 100%.
Really spiky and really nice. And the Phoenix Guard as well. I really like the Phoenix Guard. I know a lot of people don't. But I've always said, High Elves, never done it for me. The background, the idea, the models, never done it. But look at the new Island of Blood stuff, where the Swordmasters seem to be a lot beefier, a lot more stocky, and the Phoenix Guard as well. Quite liking them.
So we were talking about the fact that you can now do a complete High Elf army other than eagles of plastic, yeah? Now, I know you're waving your griffin at me, but turn it around and look at its arsehole. Yeah, it's no feathers.
So?
Now, I know you could get away with it, but how long do you think it'll be before eagles come? It's got to be the next step, surely. Because they've had it in 40k for ages with a full plastic army.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've got there's the only one thing in the army book that they don't have a plastic option for. Everything else they've got the option. Am I wrong on that, or is the one that's
Shadow
missing?
Warriors.
Ah, Shadow Warriors. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Is there not a 4th elite as well?
No,
Or is that Shadow Warriors?
Shadow Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow Warriors and Eagles, but Shadow Warriors you can make out of the archers and.
I think now, to be honest with you, the High Elves at the minute, the thing that lets them down is probably the archers.
Yes,
and the spearmen. But then
you can use your Sea Guard.
I'd be using Iron and Blood Sea Guard
as your spearmen. I can't really see them being used as archers because there's non-carrying bows.
Ah, yeah, that'd be tricky.
Yeah.
Is it not?
No, none of them carrying bows. You're looking at them now.
Oh yeah, they're strapped over the backs, aren't they?
Yeah, all of them, every single one. I've already looked at it. I'm not. I know. Then I don't like the Sea Guard on that. I'd use them as spearmen.
Or could you not put a bowman arm in that hand?
Maybe. Yeah, you could do something with it. I'm sure.
Do you know what I mean? I think I'd be, if I was going to do a High Elf army, I'd be looking into that. If I'm honest.
Yeah. So the other thing that's out with the High Elves is the High Elf magic cards, which seem to be the new gimmick of every time there's a new army, new set of cards, and I love it. I mean, I've got to order some because I'm sure they'll sell out on advanced order like the Beastman ones did,
and the Demon ones.
And I got both of them, so I'll get the High Elves as well.
Yeah, we were at Games Workshop, weren't we, interviewing, and when we got a beep email,
email comes through. Quick, get them ordered.
Yeah, and then in the store we went, and they had the black box, didn't they, with the Phoenix Guard and whatnot in.
So we've had a good look at the Dragon Prince sprues and the White Lion sprues. We've not seen the Phoenix Guard yet.
Not seen the Phoenix Guard sprues, no, but I've seen them on the net.
Yeah.
I like them. I really do.
Yeah,
pricey,
so do I.
Pricey, but...
Now, let's talk about that. So White Lions are £25 for 10, yes?
Yep, same with the Phoenix Guard.
Now, White Lions metal were £30, 33 for
they?
10, including command.
Yeah.
Or 30 for 10. Games Workshop obviously It is just saving you money. You've got better models at a cheaper price.
Yep.
Other people, the counter argument is that you're selling the plastics at 25 quid for 10. And
Yep.
What do you think?
I think it's when you see it, when we're in the store and we're looking at the plastics and it's like, oh, any pictures of the paint ones? Oh, yeah, they're on the website. And obviously they've got the little computer jobbies in Warhammer World. And we have a look and we scrolls down, and when you see £25 under 10 models, you do kind of have a instant reaction of, ooh, that's a bit of a lot. But like you say, the old ones would have been £5 more.
Yeah.
Whether that's...
Now, the thing that I think's done it is the White Lions, when they were released, were, what?
12, I think.
Yeah, not a lot. And they've crept up and crept up and crept up.
When they were released, they were probably in blisters.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Then they went to the 5-men box set system, didn't they, for all of that stuff?
So I think they've crept up without people really noticing, because it's not a new release.
Yeah.
And then now they're there, advertised at 25 quid for 10. It does seem a lot of money. But
yeah.
It is, I don't know, it's ever-going conundrum, isn't it? At the end of the day, is it worth, do you think they're worth 25 quid for them 10 men?
If I was going to do a high elf army, I'd just buy them.
Yes, this is the thing.
If I'm true, this is obviously my point of view and the way I am. I've got a decent job. My wife's got a decent job. We've not got loads of money, but I can spend £300 a year on
You've got enough to buy an army a year. And
do you know what I mean?
Be done with it. Yeah.
I mean, I've spent 350 quid probably on Skaven.
And it'll do you for another 12 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know everyone's not in that position, and I'm not sure how the kids can go on. I mean, when I started, it was paper round money, but your blister pack.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a difficult one because
of course it is.
It's all down to...
There's nothing to compare it to neither, because there's nothing else on the market comparable.
No, not to that extent, not to that quality. I mean, the Mantic stuff's good, but it's not a patch on.
No.
Well, not patch on's probably a bit harsh. But
it's different. It's aimed at a different sort of thing.
Yeah.
The Mantic stuff, it's good for its price.
Yeah,
very good for its price.
Oh, very, very good.
Quality to quality on the Games Workshop stuff, it's not as good.
No.
But then you pay a lot more for the Games Workshop stuff. So, anyway, I think that's enough on that. We're going to go for a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about. Well, we're going to have an interview for you with Darius Hinks and Nick Kime from the Black Library. We're going to talk about all things Black Library related and give a plug to their new books. So, check that out, because we had quite a lot of fun recording that, didn't we?
We did. We had quite a lot of fun over dinner as well.
Okay, so we'll go for a break. You'll hear the interview, and then we'll be back afterwards to talk about more Warhammer goodness.
Hello gamers, this is Romeo from Battlefoam, and I just want to tell you about an amazing product that is available on our site. It's the new fantasy trays. We have recently released 40 new fantasy trays to take care of all of the new custom armies that are coming out for 8th edition. Along with great trays, Battlefoam also offers custom cut trays, something that is exclusive to our business, meaning that if you have an odd character or a large variety of infantry or cavalry models, we can custom cut using our custom tray creator anything you're looking for. Along with that, we also have a revolutionary bag system called the pack system. These will allow you to actually fit a huge amount of models in your case. So check us out at battlefoam.com. That's battlefoam.com.
Back to Basics and our proud sponsors of the Bad Dice Podcast. Based in Adelaide, Australia, they serve both the national and international gaming communities with quality resin products. If you visit www.backtobase-ix.com, you can view all their fantastic products, which includes resin bases, terrain, modular gaming tables, and even a wide variety of movement trays to suit all shapes and sizes for your 8th edition armies. The Back to Basics movement trays come in pretty much any size you could possibly need. If you find something that you want and it's not on their website, they'll even make it for you. The Back to Basics resin bases come in all different themes to suit any fantasy army. Designs include brick, cobblestone, desert, dirt, dungeon stone and forest, amongst many more. So if you like what you hear and fancy picking up some of the Back to Basics range, visit www.backtobase-ix.com. When you go to the checkout, insert the code BADDICE and you'll receive a 10% discount. That's www.backtobase-ix.com.
Okay, so we now have with us two extra special guests. We're down in the deepest, darkest cellars of the Black Library, which doesn't look all that creepy, does it?
No, not really. That's a big window.
So, how you doing, guys? You want to introduce yourselves? Tell the listeners who you are.
Hello, I'm Darius Hinks. I've worked in the Black Library for 72 years, and Warrior Priest will be my first full-length novel.
And I'm Nick Kime. I also work in the Black Library, though not for 72 years, just 70 years. And I've written several novels for the Black Library, as well as various articles and so on.
Okay, so we've got you in to talk about, well, basically pretty much your Black Library careers, what you've done, what you've got coming in the future, and just general author stuff, which I'm sure the fans like to listen to. So, do you want to give us a bit of your background about just your general gaming background? Are you both gamers, or is it just strictly professional writers?
I'm a lapsed gamer.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, Nick, but it's quite hard. Writing is quite a time-consuming hobby.
True.
I think I've struggled to do much hobbying now in terms of...
I tell you, it's been a while since my last game of Warhammer or 40k. I used to play quite a lot, part of like gaming clubs, and used to come to the gaming hall up in Warhammer World now and again, but I don't get as much chance as I used to. It's definitely something that's on my mind and I want to do, and I have armies ready to roll. But like Darius said, with a full-time job in writing, it's very, having a life as well, it's very, very time-consuming. But it's certainly something that I'm looking to get into, particularly with the new Warhammer as well, which looks great.
Did you ever play competitively, tournaments and that sort of thing?
I've done some tournaments, not a huge fan to be honest.
No?
I prefer to choose who I play against and just play for the fun of it. Not that I don't like to win, because I do, and I'm competitive and I'll play to win as well, but I prefer to have a laugh rather than worry about inches and dice rolls and stuff to the nth degree.
Never stop worrying about inches.
You said that on me, mate.
Okay, so what about other geek stuff away from just Games Workshop? Is it something you've been into in the past, or is it just random that you ended up working for a gaming company like Games Workshop and writing books for the Black Library?
I used to play various role-play games in the past.
Yeah, me too.
Rollmaster and...
Middle-earth roleplay, used to do that.
Yeah.
I thought Rollmaster was really complicated.
It was, but yeah.
And I found it quite binding.
It took me about a year to work out how to play it, I seem to remember.
I much preferred the Final Fantasy Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Yeah,
where you could do a bit of
those
dice
too.
roll and a bit of character development. I was like, oh yeah, that'll do,
And you
that's
could
good.
cheat through it as well.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
Good. Never did that though, of course. Never left my
cheats.
finger in the page beforehand. Oh, no, that's not the right one. And there was one that, oh god, I remember one particular book. I think it was, are we allowed to drop in names?
Yeah, you carry on.
Right, I think it was called The House of Hell or something like that. It was like the most difficult. I could never get past a certain bit. It didn't matter however much I put my finger
Even by cheating?
Even by cheating, however much I put my finger in the page before, the page before, the page before that, change my options. I'd still end up dead. It was like the most difficult game.
These the Fighting Fantasy ones.
Yeah.
I picked one of them up recently, actually. I was like, oh, what's this?
They've been reprinted, haven't they?
And on one of the reprints.
You know you can get an app for them on your iPhone now
Oh, cool.
to do I think it's the first 4 books.
Takes all the
are on
fun
there.
out of it, though.
No cheating there.
No, I suppose
Oh,
not.
that's quite cool. I quite like it.
Shake your phone just to do the dice rolls and
No,
stuff like that.
really?
Oh, that does sound good, yeah.
Okay, so you've obviously got a bit of background into gaming and that sort of stuff. How did it come about that you ended up working for the Black Library then?
Should we go first? Tim?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think for me, I had a career, a slightly odd career before this. I was a musician. Well, musician in inverted commas. I played in a band, and that all went disastrously wrong.
What was the band?
It was a band called Cable.
So I've seen you live
Have you?
in my younger days. Yeah.
no,
I didn't say this. I didn't say this. I didn't say this earlier over dinner because I thought it'd be funny to get the action. But I can't. It was when I was a lot younger, and it was playing. I think it might have been the Vic Inn in Derby or somewhere around.
Could be.
Somewhere
Our
around
last
Derby.
ever gig was at the Vic. After we'd been disastrously sued to death, we did a final gig was actually in Derby. That's where we started. Yeah, we played at the Vic. So maybe you saw it. Did the ceiling get smashed?
Oh, I can't remember. It was that long ago. I don't think I went to your last ever gig. I do remember sort of that time with the whole gig at the Vic as the end one.
Yeah.
I think I saw you in the year before that or so.
Oh,
So
okay.
I couldn't. I've definitely had an album. I couldn't remember. I couldn't sing you a song, but I do remember it from my
Could you
youth.
try and sing a song?
No, you could try and sing
No,
us a song.
What were some of your songs?
So my songs, we had a song called, probably closest thing to a famous song, even though you won't recognise the title, is a song called Freeze the Atlantic. But you probably would recognise the tune because it was used in a drinks commercial. And it was, there was an advert in the mid-90s, and it was a guy, it was for Sprite. Am I allowed to mention Sprite?
Yeah, you talk about what you like.
Yeah, Sprite, the drink of kings.
I drink it every day.
What was I going to say?
Sprite.
Oh yeah, Sprite. Yeah, so we gave them a free song to use. Most people get paid a fortune, and we cleverly volunteered our song for free.
Why did you do that?
Publicity.
Yeah, we thought it'd be good publicity, but no one ever really knew who the song was by. They recognised the tune, and we'd play gigs, and then people would click and think, "Oh, that's that song." But,
That's from a Sprite advert.
yeah. So we played it down. You probably vaguely recognised the tune because it was everywhere at one point on TV. Yeah, we released a single, and it got to the dizzying heights of, I think, number 38 in the charts.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
all right.
there
That's top
you go.
40.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So where was it? So Games Workshop. The problem is when you've spent 7 years, your CV just says being drunk for 7 years and rolling around the stage. It's quite hard to get any kind of gainful employment. But when I came to Games Workshop for an interview, like, wow, you're in a band. That's really cool. And we just talked about music for about an hour. I think it's the one place I probably would have ever been kind of employed again. So it's my last hope really at a job. Games Workshop.
So you say that this band because in your books you've got a note at the end saying a disastrous music career that left you in court. So what's the story of that?
The story with that was we signed. We were only about 18 when we signed with a manager, and we signed a huge contract the size of a telephone directory that basically meant we couldn't do anything ever again. And he turned out to be a terrible manager, and we fired him and thought that was okay. And about 3 years later, he came out of the woodwork with a court case for £168,000 he would have liked us to give him. We didn't actually have £168,000, so we went to court, and that went on for about a year. But our record company said, don't worry, there's no way you can lose because the bloke's an idiot, which he was. And so we went to court with a coffee and kind of wearing comedy suits and having a laugh with the judge. This is just, didn't take the whole thing entirely seriously. And then we lost.
Oh dear.
Surprise.
Yeah.
And the moral of this tale is...
don't ever be in a band.
Yes.
One of the conditions of us, we paid him a vastly reduced amount of money because we just didn't have any money. But one of the conditions was we didn't perform together as musicians or under that name. And I think it was only for about 5 years or something. By that point, we'd all moved on and got jobs and become much more boring. So it was a fun thing to do for 7 years.
I can imagine.
It was good. I've got fond memories of tracing down the M1 in a stinky transit van.
And then that moved into working here.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I vaguely knew some people that worked here, and after cable, I was thinking, people actually have real jobs. This is terrible. And I did some temping work and saw what real life is like, and I was quite traumatised. And then I started speaking to people that worked at Games Workshop, and they spoke about work in quite a different way to anybody else you speak to. They actually seemed to like what they were doing. And I've got, as I say, some past history in gaming, and big fan of a lot of kind of fantasy, literally like Michael Moorcock type of things. I've got some things in common with people who worked here. So kind of, it just seemed like a good place to try and get in. So first opportunity I could, I managed to back myself a job here. And they've not found me out yet. I'm still here.
So it must be working out well.
Something worked out okay, yeah.
So how about you, Nick?
My route into Games Workshop was a lot more mundane than Doris'. It didn't involve court cases or stinky transit
What about
vans.
comedy things?
No comedy suits. I'd literally finished a degree in English and history, and I was working at Staples, of all places, the Office Superstore of Kings. And I really needed to get a job, and I knew about Games Workshop because my older brother, was into role playing, and he kind of got me into the workshop and miniatures and stuff. So I played the games before I kind of knew. I knew about the company. I'd even worked in the local kind of Grimsby store for a bit before I started working at Staples, because they offered me longer hours and more money that I needed to get through uni, essentially. And I just kind of started to once my degree was over, the fear kind of set in. I thought, oh Christ, I really need to get a job. I need to kind of have a career. I can't be working at Staples for the rest of my life. No disrespect to people who work at Staples. I'm sure it's fantastic, but it wasn't for me. I didn't want to.
It's not.
Someone shaking their head. And I'm sure it's a fantastic store.
Presumably you get cheap stationery.
Please don't sue me. Yeah, oh yeah, you do. You get a discount, and that was fine if you're into pens and all that sort of stuff. You know,
I'm going to say, how many biros can you buy on discount before?
I'll tell you, they won't cut you off. It's not like being at a bar and getting drunk. They will not cut you off. Oh, God, you sound terrible, don't you? Actually, you sound terrible. So I needed to get a job, and I think it was kind of like a sort of a dream in a way. It sounds quite lame to work for Games Workshop. So I really want to work there. It's really cool. They do cool stuff, and my kind of philosophy has always been that you spend a lot of time at work, most of your life spent at work, so you might as well do something that you actually enjoy doing. And Games Workshop was a company where I thought, and quite rightly as it turned out, that I could do that I could enjoy and combine something that I really liked with earning some money to put a roof over my head. And I kind of just applied for pretty much every job that was going at head office, or ones that I thought I was vaguely qualified for, and eventually
they got bored and gave you something.
Pretty much, through sheer persistence, I jumped through enough flaming hoops, and Paul Sawyer, the then editor of White Dwarf, gave me a job as a layout designer, even though I'd confessed to him that I didn't really know very much about layout design, and my Quark skills, which is the program that they use, they still do actually, were like 2 out of 10 or something like that. I was kind of quite upfront with him, so I don't really know anything about this stuff, but I do really like Games Workshop, and I really want to work here. And I think he's kind of saw some potential in me and valued my persistence or something, or just got fed up with saying no. It wasn't just him, there were other places I applied for too.
And you ran for Fnatic before?
I had some background with Fnatic and said I'll journal, and I've done some articles for them. So I had still had half a foot in the door already. They knew my face and didn't find it repellent, so that was great.
So you were still writing this time, and you knew you wanted to be a writer?
Oh yeah, I knew that. Since I was a boy really. Since I was about 11 years old, English was always like my favourite subject. I always liked telling stories. I think in your head at the time, you have this romantic ideal where you think, oh, I used to be a writer, that'd be great. And then thousands, and the reality is slightly different to that. But I suppose part of the reason why I wanted to come to work for Workshop was I wanted to try to pursue that career of being surrounded by the creativity and the creative people and the opportunities to do things I wouldn't get to do in a normal job, I guess if you can call it that, was too appealing to turn down really. So I just wanted to get in any way that I could, so I took the job as a layout designer.
Yeah, and obviously once you've got in, you managed to move up and obviously do something a bit more relevant to your writing at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of dotted around a bit, and I was quite honest with my boss and said, look, my real strength is writing rather than designing. I learned a lot about design, and that was really good. It made me quite well-rounded, but I quickly kind of moved into staff writing and then journalism, and eventually got an editorial position on Black Library about 4 years ago, something like that, and been there since.
So, this is to both of you really. How does that sort of thing progress into actually starting writing for the Black Library, or I suppose it's the same for any other company if you're writing for someone else? How would you get your start? And is it just short stories submitting? Or do they come to you, and I don't know, how does that process work?
I think our route was slightly similar actually, because you did some stuff for Inferno, didn't you?
Inferno, yeah. I did a few short stories for Inferno. When I very first joined, I originally was submitting them under a pseudonym because I knew they wouldn't take me seriously. So I kind of stuck in that way, and I managed to get a couple of short stories published. But I think the same principle applies now, doesn't it? I mean, these short stories I think are the way in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge a complete book, and we just don't have the time either.
Oh, of course, yeah.
To read, because I'm sure there's loads of people out there that have got manuscripts and they want to, my advice is don't send them in, because we just don't have time to read them. Although I think there is some room for that in the open submissions when there's the potential to put novels, in. But I suppose, speaking with my editor's kind of hat on, I suppose what we really look for is something quick that we can read and absorb that will tell us whether this person can write, so they can string a sentence together and write in a creative and evocative way, and B, get the mood and tone of our universes of Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000, because mood and tone is absolutely crucial to that. And if any of those two elements are missing, then it's probably not going to happen. but short stories is definitely the best to put things on a positive spin.
Yeah,
Short stories
yeah,
are definitely the best way in. So if you're really desperate to write for BL or write it at all, then start trying to crack your short story craft, because there's a big difference between being a good short story writer and being a good novel writer. They're two very different skills.
Yeah. And the opportunities are there, aren't there? I mean, it's not that we've got enough authors now and the doors are closed. We're always looking for new authors, and a lot of the authors we're working with now have come through that route, haven't they?
Yeah, loads.
Submitting short stories to
Chris Ray,
Yeah.
who's going to be writing his first Space Marine Battles book very soon. I think
Yeah.
that's, we can talk about that. I can say too late. innit? I said that. But he came through short stories. Steve Parker, who wrote Gunhead and Rebel Winter on 40k books, unfortunately. He was a short story. He submitted through short. But actually, no, going back to Chris, he wrote Sword of Justice, which is our first Warhammer Heroes novel based on Ludwig Swarzam, the Emperor's champion in the Empire Army. And he actually submitted a fantasy short story that was featured in an anthology called Invasion, I think. I think it was Invasion that he was in. And that's how he got his break with us. And several of our authors that we're working with now, some of the newer ones, Aaron Dembski-Bowden, Henry Zhao.
Yeah, some of the most successful authors.
Yeah, have submitted short stories, and that's kind of how they've got their break. We'll act really quickly if we think we've got someone that has got talent and knows the background, and actually is professional as well, because that's quite important too. Because we like to work with people that we like and are easy to work with, because it makes our job easier. So yeah, like Darren says, the door is definitely open, and genuinely that has worked for people in the past and continues to do so.
It's quite unusual actually for most big publishers won't even look at anything unless it's come from an agent. So yeah, we're quite unusual in that. We will.
It's that catch-22 thing, isn't it? Yeah. You can't get an agent because you've got to publish, but you can't get it published because you've... Yeah.
But with us, if you're good enough, and as Nick says, if you understand the tone and the IP, then you've got as good a chance as anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward a bit from that, once you've got your foot in the door and you've started out on your project, like your Warrior Priest novel, how did you go about writing this? From obviously the Empire background is already set in stone; it's been there for years. The whole, like say, the theme and the feel of it's been established. How difficult is that to put your own stamp on how you see that, or is that easier in the fact that there's something there which you can sort of lean on?
I found it really... I've been trying to write, like Nick, I wanted to write when I was very young, so around 14, 15, I started trying to write stories. And what I tended to find is I have a great opening scene. I'd write a couple of chapters, 2-3 chapters, it would peak around there and nowhere.
Nick started.
Yeah, I think it's probably familiar to a lot of people. So really the challenge for me wasn't so much... Because I think you can put your own stamp on something just by... I mean, the lead character in that book is someone I've invented, his personality and his background. You've got that freedom within the world of Warhammer, and really everything else around is useful. The fact that you've got a framing, the world is already established, you know what kind of transportation they use, what weapon they use. So that frees you up to focus on the characters. But the challenge for me was the mechanics of getting from a cool idea to a finished book. And the great thing with working with editors like Nick is they've done this, they've worked with so many authors, they understand how to do a good chapter breakdown and a proper synopsis. So that when you're trying to work through the book, you've got a roadmap that guides you through. And that's the kind of stuff that I really didn't know. The kind of nuts and bolts, the skills of being a writer, technical skills, really. And that was the big learning experience for me on Warrior Priest. But no, I think you can definitely make your own stamp, because every Warrior Priest could be different, could be different background, or different kind of chips on his shoulder, or whatever it might be. So, did I answer that at all?
It's up to you to check him.
I agree. I concur.
Is this right? Have I said good?
No, that's right. I think, no, not at all. I think it's worth pointing out that not everybody writes the same, and everyone kind of can work in different ways. And sometimes, actually, a chapter breakdown doesn't necessarily work for everyone. But I think when a writer's starting out, it's really useful as a safety net, because there are times when the story will kind of take over and will take you in directions that you perhaps wasn't aware of. And so, by necessity, a lot of chapter breakdown, I think yours, I'd include yours in this, had some flexibility in it.
Definitely, some characters I think surprise you along the way. Characters you think were really minor actually become really interesting, and you want to make more of them, and that can redirect.
Yeah, and actually, but to have a chapter breakdown when you're writing in that kind of organic way is really useful. If you get to a point, you think, oh God, where else am I going to go after this? You can go back to your chapter breakdown and remember what, thrust of the story was at this point, what subplots you were trying to bring in, tie up, merge together, what kind of things you need to introduce, what characters need to come in out of shadow, that kind of stuff. So I actually look at it as a safety net. And I think certain authors have been writing for a long time. The chapter breakdowns almost exist in their heads, and they don't need to write them down
it's like
anymore.
second nature.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll just tackle something. They'll have like a very broad concept and an idea about what they want to achieve. They might have like, I don't know, 3 acts in their head or something like that. But they won't need to do like something that's necessarily blow by blow. And some authors that have been writing for a long time will religiously stick to chapter breakdowns and won't and will not deviate. And I think the point I'm trying to make in quite a long-winded fashion is that everyone tackles it differently. It's a creative art form, and what we really do is provide tools to get people started. To A, find their own voice, and B, do something in terms of the creation and the construction of the story and the plot that's comfortable for them.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good, actually.
I always sound professional. Don't I?
Well, how did you get Warrior Priest? Obviously, you write some short stories. Was Warrior Priest your idea, or was it something that was going to be a book written about a Warrior Priest and it fell in your lap?
It can happen both ways, definitely. I think with me, I'd written some Inferno short stories a long time ago, and then I did a book called The Witch Hunter's Handbook, which you may not remember. It was a little leather miniature kind of guide to be.
I remember it being released. I don't think I ever read it, but I do remember the leather bound.
Yeah. And again, that was quite a while ago. I think at some point, Nick, you said to me, "What happened? Did you lose interest?" Or you kind of, I think you initially approached me.
I did, yeah, because I had read The Witch Hunter's Handbook, and I thought it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it, and I knew that I knew Darius had done some short stories before. I kind of thought, why is he not writing for us? At the moment, don't really understand that. So I kind of wandered over to your desk and said, "Have you thought about doing any more writing for us? Because I read, your stuff and I like it, and I'd like to see more. And if you're interested, let's talk about it and see what kind of percolates." And Darius responded positively, which was great. Said that he was really keen. And we just talked about, what different things, what areas you could look at. What did you want to write Warhammer initially or 40k? And I think Warhammer was something that you wanted to have a dabble in, and I think we had the Empire Army series running at the time, and I suggested, well, we haven't covered Warrior Priests yet. Maybe we could do that. And
at that point, I kind of couldn't believe that I'd get the chance of doing a Warrior Priest novel, because they seem like such iconic, cool characters. I kind of assumed somebody had already bagsy them. So I kind of leapt on that as soon as Nick mentioned it.
And it fitted in really well with what Darius had already done with the Witch Hunters, because Witch Hunters and Warrior Priests are sort of quite easy bedfellows, really, aren't they?
Yeah, so, there's a Witch Hunter in the book. Quite a pivotal character in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I imagine it was an easy fit.
I think that's one of the things that really interests me about the Warhammer setting, is the contrast between the Sigmarite faith and the Chaos powers. I think that's one of the things that's very unique about Warhammer that you couldn't really get in any other kind of game system. So it always appeals to me. And the Witch Hunter thing too. So I did a little short story first night just to check that I could still string sentences.
Yeah, we do tend to do that with Melis and Tara. I do tend to do that with new authors. We just like to. I think a lot of it is as much about can this person actually write the thing that they've pitched and finish it and do any changes that need to be made so it's a finished article in effect. Because like what Darius was saying about when he was younger and he'd have an idea and he'd write a couple of chapters or something like that and then it would peter out. The short stories are kind of a test in a way to A, see if the person can write. Well, I already kind of knew that about Darius, but B, whether they had the ability to see something through to the end. And that is really what is the difference between a lot of people who want to write and a lot of people who are writers. I meet lots of folks who are a writer. What was the last thing that you finished writing? I've done bits and pieces. I've not really finished anything. You're not really a writer, are you? It sounds quite brutal, but you're only a writer by definition of what you've written. So if you haven't actually written anything, you're not a writer.
You've got to be really single-minded. It's kind of the amount of hours that it takes, as I'm sure you can imagine, to finish a novel. If you've got a really interesting lifestyle, you're probably never going to achieve it. You need to be able to set aside quite a lot of your day to just sitting down at a computer and tapping away. You need to be very, very focused.
It's discipline is the key, really, and desire as well. If you haven't got the desire, then the novelty will wear off at some point. And actually, there are points I don't know with you, with me, there have been points in novels where I've kind of gone, I've really kind of hit a wall. I've got that midway sort of grind or that slump. And, oh God, where am I going to go from here? And that's really when your discipline, your desire kicks in. Yeah, and you find your second wind, to use a sporting analogy, and get over the hump, and you finish it. But you will get to points where you almost like your faith is kind of tested. I really tested. Oh my God! Yeah, think right, daily. Yeah, absolutely. And that's when you find out almost what you're made of as a writer, I suppose.
Yeah, find out if you're serious about it, because you can't flounce off in a prima donna hop and think, oh, it's become hard work now, I'll just leave it.
Yeah.
If you've signed a commissioning form, you've committed, you've told the publishing company you're going to finish this book, then you've got to treat it as a serious job.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so you've been writing for a few years now. You started with some Necromunda novels to start with?
Yeah, I did.
And then...
nicely reserved.
Yeah, that's it. I do a little bit.
Oh, good.
And then
you said you do.
One of the ones you've done in the past was the Grimblades novel, which I want to talk about. Now, it's about a unit of Empire Halberdiers, which are, one of the worst units in the game?
Yeah, not far off.
Yeah. So how do you go about writing about them and still make them sound...
Why are they the worst units in the game?
Oh, they're just not very powerful in the game. They're not...
They must have a purpose, though. They must be
let's die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is actually, perversely, the reason why I chose Halberdiers was because I felt they were the great unsung soldiers.
Yeah, this is the question.
Army.
How do you go and make them sound excited enough to write a full novel about them?
Well, I think the key is to invest your characters with personality and with drive and motivation and desires, and turn them into real people, albeit soldiers that exist in a crazy fantasy world fighting against monsters, demons, magic and all that weird stuff. So I really wanted to tell a story, and I'm not doing this to kind of quote something, but about a band of brothers essentially, but not necessarily inspired by the miniseries of the same name. But about a group of halberdiers that what I felt was all, in terms of the professional soldiery of the Empire, was almost like the lowest rung. And I was very much, I've played an Empire army before and Warhammer, and I know how rubbish halberdiers are, and how much of a kind of a bad deal that they seem to get, or at least in terms of the view of gamers and so on. Why would you want halberdiers when you can have great swords or swordsmen or spearmen or a multitude of other? Why on earth would you pick halberdiers? And that was kind of almost what attracted me to them. It was like, well, these are the unsung heroes, as I've said, and I wanted them to shine. I think it's really the setting that you put them in, and what challenges you put in a way. And this group of characters have got it harder than most, and they don't all necessarily really get on. There are little groups within this kind of the Grimblades, which is the name of the regiment, which is about 40 men, but I only focused on like the two front ranks rather, because having 40 characters would be insane.
Of course.
That would be the point of that. It's ridiculous. So the story tends to focus on really a group of 10, which gets whittled down rather quickly. There's a pretty swift, there's a pretty brutal sort of rate of attrition in this book, as you might expect, because they are the foot sloggers.
Yeah.
They are going to be at the front. They don't wear all the best armour. They're not necessarily the best trained, and they're pretty much the dog's bodies of the Empire Army. So yeah, they're going to die. And in their droves. So I had to think of plausible reasons why I could keep a lot of them alive as well for as much of the novel as possible, so their characters could develop and I could tell the story.
Blank pages at the back.
No, they're all dead, Dave. They're all dead, Dave. It was just wrong way, would it?
All dead, Dave.
Yeah, I could do like red rum, and then turn it around and like a kind of shining moment. But I didn't bother with that. So I think it was really kind of investing them with as much personality as possible, and they stop just being halberdiers and they start being just guys that are on the front line. There are other characters in that book too. It's set during a time when the Elector Count of Stirland is the Emperor effectively, and he's ruling from Nuln, and Prince Wilhelm is almost like the pretender to the throne in a way, I guess. He's the Elector of Reichland, and he actually goes on to become the first of the Reichland Emperors, which is something that carried on to this day with Karl Franz. So it's quite, in terms of the Empire history, it's quite an important story, I suppose, or quite an important period of history. where those things happen. Marienburg is seceding from the Empire, and we get, as I say, we get the first of the Reichland Emperor. So it's an ensemble novel as well, but the Grimblades are at the core of it.
Okay, so on the flip side of that, obviously, you also done the Salamander series for the Space Marines, which has gone from the lowest of the low to the best of the best sort of thing. How easy or difficult was it to write about the Space Marines when they're obviously... have you wrote Space Marine novels in the past before Salamander? Or was Salamander the first?
I did Assault on Blackreach, the novella, which had which is really the story associated with the 40k box set you can get now, which is the Ultramarine Second Company and Kato Sicaria. So I had like a little test, I suppose, in that. And much like I was saying, kind of Darius was tested with a short story. That was kind of almost like my 40k dry run in a way.
Yeah.
For A, to see if I could write about Space Marines. It's not the easiest things to write about, actually. And B, whether I liked writing about them and if I wanted to continue writing about them. And the Salamander book, the first in the Tome of Fire trilogy, was actually preceded by a short story, an anthology called Heroes of the Space Marines, which was a massive, sprawling, it was a short story, but it's like 20,000 words or 22,000, which is quite long for a short story, really. And I knew when I was writing that, I thought, and I'd shown it to some people, and one of the fellow authors came back to me and said, "You really want to write a novel, don't you, at this point?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I think that's why it was as long as it
What
was.
workout was that story commissioned at?
About 12.
And you just dragged it out.
I wouldn't say
No, not dragged it out, that sounds bad, but...
all the words are essential.
Fleshed it out.
It grew in the telling,
that's
I'd
it.
say, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
obviously,
good.
every story is as long as it needs to be. And this one needed to be 22,000 words
Of
long.
course.
It turned out to be an epic and a precursor to what I wanted to do with the trilogy. And I knew it was going to be a trilogy. I wanted to make it a trilogy from the start. I was very upfront with my editors at the beginning that I envisaged this as 3 books, and this is how I'm going to break it down. And they were excited about what I proposed. And now I'm 2 books in. Salamander's obviously been out and done really well. I'm really pleased about that. And Fire Dread's coming up, and games that I think in the UK, and it's actually out in November or something like that. So, well, going from I wrote Salamander, then I wrote Grimblade, then I wrote Fire Drake. So I bookended a book about normal human beings, human people, with the 2 about superhumans. And I'd say it was so much easier to write about people that you can relate to, i.e. other human beings, and their fears and their weaknesses and their foibles and their idiosyncrasies, than it is about superhumans. It's so much harder to do that. And one of the things I tried to do with Salamander was think of ways that you can challenge a Space Marine. Space Marine's like obviously super strong, super fast with all the best weapons, all the best kit. Is the primo kind of warrior of the 41st millennium, really. He's the best that humanity's got to offer. So how do you challenge a character like that? It's almost like saying, how do you test Superman or something? If you haven't got any kryptonite, what can you do? Can level the playing field.
Create another Superman.
That works, yeah.
So that is one answer. You can pit them against something that's just as tough as they are, i.e. Chaos Space Marines or Necrons or something of that nature. Or, more interestingly, for an author, you can give them tough moral choices where their strength and all those other virtues are effectively meaningless. And then it becomes a question of kind of ethics and morality. And how does a Space Marine tackle that? For me, that's a much more interesting question to try to answer.
So,
sorry, what was it like writing a book about salamanders when they've got not a lot of
Great
stuff out there? Are you just free to go nuts?
Pretty much, yeah.
my question. Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I think the thing there is
live within reason.
yes,
Yeah, of course.
There is. I think why when I started the Salamander project, I think someone just died upstairs.
It's 2 of them.
Blimey, it's 2 shiny sprints to keep out. But lies about salamanders. There's there was a certain amount of material that was already in existence. Like there's the FedEx Armageddon stuff, there's bits in Index Astartes. I talked to various kind of luminaries of Games Workshop about what they thought the salamanders were. One of the most contentious issues I had to deal with was the fact that they've got jet black skin and burning red eyes. This was something that was always meant to be how the salamanders were, but over time, as these things sometimes are, they kind of got changed. They have this kind of more of a kind of an Afro-Caribbean sort of feel to them, and that's not what salamanders are like. That's not what salamanders are and what they're about. They've got black skin, jet black skin, coal black skin, whatever, and they've got burning red eyes. And that was the thing that created the most resistance in fans. I had a website. I've still got a website. And on one of my blogs, I announced I was doing this story, and what I didn't realise was I got jet black. It's really interesting, and this and that, and this. I got loads of replies. What? What are you talking about? Oh my god! The people are going crazy. I was like, oh jeez! I'm like opening the real hornet's nest here. I had no idea that there was such a lot of
Such a strong salamander following.
yeah, actually, and they do have a huge following and a great following, I must say. And a lot of the guys, once we got over that hump, and I kind of explained I wasn't going to wreck their chapter and turn them into chaos demons or anything like that, because that's not how I saw them. That community has been really, really supportive, and they've really kind of. I often get like Facebook messages and comments on my blog just saying, "I really love story X, story Y, or I can't wait for Fire Drake." And it's really nice to, because as a writer, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, Darius, you work in isolation, so you don't always get when you finish something. Apart from your editor's feedback, you don't know how it's going to be received by the rest of the world. And there's always that moment of trepidation when it
When
comes
you put
out.
hundreds of hours into something, yeah.
Please love me.
Everybody's going to laugh at me.
Yeah, so it's kind of gratifying. I can't remember the original question. I've gone off on a massive tangent. So I did invent some stuff.
Yeah.
It was how did you deal with salamanders having only a small section of fluff in the existing 40k universe, and you've been going here like how many thousand words on that?
The short answer is I took the existing fluff and I extrapolated. I kind of thought, okay, so what does this suggest about their culture, and how can I take that and make it bigger, or make it make sense within the context of something I create? So sticking true to the tone and the spirit of what I felt. Again, it's my interpretation really of what that chapter was about. And for me, salamanders, there was warriors of the earth, their forgedness, the honor scarring, lots of symbolism with fire and that kind of stuff, and that's really where I drew my cues. I kind of just thought, if I was a salamander, what are my values, and what about my history as well? And obviously, Ispan Fire Squad was quite notoriously in their background when most of their then legion was massacred, and how does that affect them? I know it's like 10,000 years later, but they've still not got 10 companies like a lot of other space marines, so it's obviously still having an effect upon them, even if it's not, it's kind of a distant piece of heritage. What does that mean to them? How do they view themselves in the broader context, and how do they interact? And then it was really a case of finding a vehicle to explore all of that, and that vehicle was the story that we read in Salamander.
Very good. Okay, and then so the book 2, the second in the series is Fire Drake, and that's out November time, about the same time as Warrior Priest.
Exactly the same.
Same one, yeah, toe to toe.
Okay.
No.
Not at all.
No.
So,
Okay, so I think that about covers everything for that time we've got. But obviously, we could touch for hours, but everyone's got somewhere to be.
What
So we've
about
got
musical numbers that we were going to...
Yeah.
You can do
Maybe
musical
later.
number for us if you like. So I've got a few quick fire questions before we go. Nothing too in depth and taxing. What?
Yeah, I could just plug my next book. I'm working on a book about a character called Stigval the Magnificent.
What, another in the Warhammer Heroes
That's
series?
right, yeah. That'll be out in 2000. Again, I think late 2011. That'll be coming out. So yeah, that'll be the next thing coming from me.
Look forward to that.
And yourself, Nick, is there anything in the pipeline, any exclusives you can tell us about?
Yes, he says, looking at a picture on the wall. I can plug two things actually.
Okay, of course
one
you can.
40k, one
Plug
more.
three,
That's
yeah.
all right. I'll just plug two. Okay. It is very cheeky. There is a Dwarfs omnibus that's coming out next year sometime. I think it's kind of mid 2011 with Gav Thor, and that will be the two dwarf books that I've written: Oathbreaker and Honor Keeper, and Gav's Grudge Bearer, with some short stories and some extra content as well. Maybe even some stuff from the Bush Law. I'm not sure yet, but we shall see what we shall see. And at the moment, I'm working on a Space Marine Battles book with the Ultramarines again. It's kind of a follow-up to Assault Black Reaches about the fall of Damnos, which is when the Ultramarines go toe-to-toe with the Necrons. A battle royale. So, Yeah.
Necrons are not really covered in that much detail before.
Yeah,
No,
there's
no.
not a. It's not a race that have been covered in the books up to now, is it? The Necrons.
No, I can't really say too much about that, unfortunately, but it's very exciting to write about them. I'm really enjoying the press's writing about them.
Excellent.
Is that again more freedom?
Sorry.
Okay.
Nice try, though.
Okay. Okay, so anything else you want to plug before I quick fire stuff? You say you've got a blog, have you both got websites and that?
Oh,
I've got a website, but it's just a picture of a monkey at the moment.
Yes, I've
Have
noticed
you
that.
seen
I'm a
that?
typewriter.
Yeah. I'm thinking of having animals here.
I don't have any monkeys. There's occasionally pictures of my house rabbit, Shakespeare, on there. But yeah, I've got my website is just www.nickheim.com. So,
What's
yeah,
Shakespeare up to? What's he
House
looking at?
Rabbit Shakespeare.
Your house rabbit's called Shakespeare.
he is indeed.
Fantastic.
Yes, he's a right little
Why not a
devil.
cat?
Or
I don't
dog,
know,
or-
Yeah,
well,
or a dog.
rabbit's cheaper.
And cooler.
And it's quite cool, although we did manage to get behind my TV the other day and chew a lot of the wires. Mercifully, he gnawed on a redundant aerial cable, so that was quite good. But I thought I'd lost my TV and everything and my PlayStation. I was like, no, why did you do this?
Shakespeare.
So he's now banished to the kitchen forever.
Nice. House Rabbit called Shakespeare, eh? I don't know. The crazy lives of authors.
So,
Okay, so quick fire round before we get rid of you, because you said you wanted to be gone by, well, now.
that's all right.
Okay, so just a few fast ones. So, favourite author or book?
You go first, Nick.
They're
Well,
going to say
I'm
each
gonna-
other, aren't they?
I'm going to say, Darius, thanks, Mario, please. Well, apart from that, of course, I'm going to say John Connolly is my favourite author at the moment. It waxes and wanes. And I would say Every Dead Thing, which is his debut novel. He's a crime writer. I'm running his crime novel. So definitely him.
Okay.
He's a legend.
For me, and this has gone, it won't seem necessarily relevant, but there's a book I really like called The Sea to Sea by Iris Murdoch, which has got no kind of connection to Warhammer or anything like that at all.
You never know.
It's about an old man who goes to live by the seaside and his friends turn up.
Excellent.
But it's better than that
Sounds-
makes it sound.
Sounds interesting. Okay, favourite film?
Oh, Big Lebowski, without a doubt.
Oh, yes.
Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
I was talking about this over lunch. She was saying you were a bit of a film buff.
I know, that's the trouble.
Too many choices, eh?
There is. I'm going to say...
It's got to be better than Big Lebowski.
I'm going to say American Beauty, actually. I think that's probably one of my favourite films.
Yeah, good
of
film.
all
I like
time.
American Beauty.
Yeah, I'd rather have like a list of
I like it, but I wouldn't say it was a...
10 or 20. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan as well, actually, so I'd say probably The Dark Knight ranks as one of my favourite all-time kind of superhero action films.
Yeah.
Excellent. I do like a bit of Batman.
There's a director called Terrence Malick, and anything he does, I think he's absolutely fantastic. He did a film called Badlands a long time ago, a film called Thin Red Line.
Oh, I like Thin Red Line. Good.
Yeah, they're just beautifully shot films.
We were talking about Wes Anderson earlier as well.
He's great, yeah.
I love his stuff. We're
Yeah.
talking about Royal Tenenbaums and Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
And anything with Bill Murray in as well.
Yeah,
Bill
Bill
Murray,
Murray.
I said that. Bill Murray.
I watched Groundhog Day quite recently. And that was,
Did you watch that?
I watched Groundhog
Did
Day
you watch
quite
This is
recently.
like me and Groundhog Day. We're talking about this at lunch.
Yeah. Okay, so your proudest, well, we said gaming or geek achievement. So, I don't know, is it finishing the Xbox game? Is it writing a book? Is it whatever? I don't know.
My proudest achievement is, this isn't particularly funny, but I've just finished the Sigvard book I was mentioning earlier. I'm very proud of that. It's
Good thing to be
it's
proud
come
of.
out just how I would have liked it to. It might be that everybody else in the world will hate it, but it's just what I would have liked it to be like. That's me. What about you, Nick?
Crumbs. That's really hard. I've got a lot of proud moments, but I suppose, all right then, maybe not my proudest, but one that kind of, I can't remember, I've got kind of a bit of a warm glow, was the first time I heard my words in an audio drama. I did Thunder from Fenris, which is a Space Wolves kind of audio drama, and the first time that was read out and dramatised was pretty awesome. I have to say that was great to hear that. With all the sound effects stuff. Like, wow, this is awesome! I did this. Woohoo!
Oh, I've got another geek moment, which was I wrote another little book called The Island of Blood. It ties into the box set, and yeah,
We've got that.
Yeah, I did want to.
I wasn't actually been in this book, but there was a point where I walked up into the design studio at Games Workshop, and they'd made a huge board for the launch of the game, showing the island.
Yeah.
And there were a few things I'd invented as part of writing the book, including these huge towering elven statues and things. And seeing those created, and some things that I thought of only existing in my head actually modelled. That was pretty cool.
I can imagine.
I would. Do you know what? I've just another thought, and I would probably.
Don't copy me.
I would probably say. I'd actually say probably my proudest geek moment was that Necromunda book that you mentioned.
Your very first published work.
Back from the Dead, yeah, which I still kind of look on fondly now, and I still get nice comments from people saying that they've read it and really liked it. So yeah, I think that's what's going to be. Have a special place in my heart. I would say zombies.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, and last but not least, your guilty pleasures.
Good one. Which one are you talking about?
Any. We're not PG.
Well, working in the Black Library, both would probably have to admit to an obsession with cheese. It plays a big part
I'm
in the
going
Black
to
Library.
refute that. I will have cheese.
Did you involve in cheese club?
I'm not upset.
The only real topic of conversation in the Black Library is occasionally cake. But
Already upset.
we don't have Tuesdays in the Black Library, we have cheese days.
Yeah, that's true.
And we have a huge selection of cheese on offer that stinks out of the office for most of the day.
I'd say my guilty pleasure is probably watching Ugly Betty. That's probably my guilty pleasure. Or Glee, which a lot of us
Glee,
watch
definitely
in the
a guilty
office
pleasure.
as well.
What's going on with the world?
Yeah, I'd say that. I'm actually liking
That's
it when
worse than
they do the stuff.
That's what's achieved.
That's definitely my guilty pleasure.
Okay, so that's worse than cheese now. Well, thanks very much for your time. And yeah, good luck with the release of your next books and
Thanks very much.
Thank you
the
very
rest
much.
of your writings in the future.
Thank you, Ben.
Cheers, yeah,
Cheers, guys.
Are you tired of being rubbish at Warhammer? Are you fed up of losing all your games? Do your friends laugh as they beat you week after week? If this sounds familiar, then we have exactly what you're looking for. Demons of Chaos. The Demons of Chaos army has everything you could ever want to be a god amongst men on the Warhammer battlefield. Following the footsteps of the greats such as Rob Downey, Chris Legg, Andy Ishwood and Gav Clark, who all went from zero to hero just by using this amazing product. Visit oggames.co.uk and get 10% off the entire Games Workshop range. While you're there buying your Demon Army, be sure to check out the wide variety of wargaming products that Og Games stock. And don't forget that there's free shipping to anywhere in the UK with all Og Games purchases. www.oggames.co.uk. Unseen Lurker is a new, exciting gaming magazine covering gaming, tactics, hobby, modelling, reviews, interviews, and even the occasional zebra. Each issue has a quarter of the magazine available for download so you can try before you buy. It's the first independent global magazine encompassing articles from generals and hobbyists all over the world. Every issue of Unseen Lurker, that's Lurker with an E, is packed with giveaways such as custom dice, t-shirts, as well as the Game of the Month as reviewed by our Unseen Lurker test dummies. For more information, check out unseenlurker.com. Okay, so we're back, and yeah, thanks to Nick and Darius for coming in. Well, we went to them.
We went to them, yeah.
Had a lovely chat with them guys. Had such good fun down in the deepest, darkest depths of the Black Library, which is not all that deep or
Not
dark.
really, is it? It looks like over the car park.
Yeah. Okay, well, I had a great time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, it was very much fun.
Yeah, so we had a nice bit of lunch in Bugman's, and we
Yeah.
sat there, and I'm thinking all the things I could ask him, and I thought, well, I don't want to ask him anything really, because whatever I ask, I'm going to ask again in 5 minutes' time on
That's
the show.
true, yeah.
So we ended up talking about all sorts of crap, didn't we?
Computer games mainly.
Yeah, computer games and films.
And wrestling.
Yeah, and it was just surreal. It was just so surreal, and I thought they were quite a dynamic couple. They could even be a couple. They worked that well together.
yeah.
They bounced
Yeah, I
off
could
each
see
other
that.
well. It was quite fun. I'm sure they weren't like us saying they were like a couple, but no, they did bounce off each other quite well, and they had a good dynamic between them. So it was really good to get them on the show. So thanks very much. Hopefully they'll listen, not to hear us, just to hear themselves.
I hope so.
Yeah, so As for the books, we've got a couple to give away.
Yeah, we
haven't
have. The pair of them signed. Darius signed Warrior Priest, and Nick signed Grimblades.
Yeah, so we've got a brand fine new pristine copy of Grimblades.
Grimblades.
We've got a well thumbed copy of Warrior
Yeah.
Priest because Ben's reading that at the moment.
In fairness, it's only thumbed about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay, so we've got both of them to give away, and we've also got a copy of Fire Drake to give away. Now, the Warrior Priest and Fire Drake aren't actually out yet, so this will be first chance of getting hold of one of these. And
I think they're not out for a while either. November. did they
November, I
say?
think you can get them at Games Day, but it's November for general release. So, what do you want to do to give them away? Should we do the same old of just stick a reply to a thread on the forums?
I think that's tried and tested.
Yeah, and we'll what we'll do is if you post, we'll put a thread on the Snake Eyes section of the forum. So you have to be a Snake Eyes member. So go over to baddice.co.uk/forum and to the Snake Eyes contest section, and just post up, say which order you want the books, and we'll pull 3 random names out. And obviously, the first one we pull out gets his first choice.
Yep.
Second one pulls out gets their first choice if it's still available. Third one pulls out gets the last
Gets
one.
whatever's left.
Yeah. So
Sloppy thirds.
So we'll run that for one episode.
Yeah.
So next episode we'll announce the winners of this, which should be, this one will be out on the 15th, so the next one will be out on the 1st of October. So, yeah, get yourself on there to win a chance for some Black Library books. So thanks to the guys.
Signed Black Library.
Yeah, thanks to the authors, and thanks to the guys from the Black Library for setting that up for us as well.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. We did enjoy this sort of thing. Hopefully, let us know your feedback, because we're interested to hear if that's the sort of thing you want to be hearing from the Bad Dice podcast, or do you want us to be rambling on about our normal tournament comings and goings, or what? I don't know. Give us some feedback on that. Okay, so moving on from the Black Library interviews, we've got some Snake Eyes content going up, haven't we?
We're
going to record
recording later on this afternoon, aren't we?
Yeah, Cardiff Carnage. You're going to have a rundown of how you went about winning that, taking your first place trophy home, and I'm going to have a good chat about the Russville Invitational. So just 6 games of Warhammer and lots of Warhammer talk as well. So there should be some good stuff in there of things we've learned, ideas we've come up with, stuff like that. So get yourself onto the Snake Eyes and check them out. They should be up shortly. Okay, so moving on, Warrington, the Warlords GT this weekend.
What is it now? It's Monday evening now, Monday afternoon now, isn't it?
It's Monday the 13th, and the GT is the weekend of the 17th.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What we're going to see, there's 140 players. It's the biggest event ever in the UK, and it's also the biggest 7th edition event ever.
8th edition event.
Sorry, 8th edition event ever so far worldwide, I think.
I think you're right, yeah.
So what do you reckon? What are you expecting for start?
I'm expecting some real filth.
Okay, because it's out the box, do what you like, bring what you like.
I think people have now had enough time to learn it, break it, and bring some real bad stuff.
Okay.
The 14 War Machine Dwarf armies.
You think you'll see some of that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think we will. As for what's going to win,
I don't know. So I'm hearing rumblings that the Bobo might be making an appearance with a horrendous Lizman army.
Yeah.
So that'd be quite interesting.
that is a horrendous army.
Yeah. So my money would be on that.
Not only horrendous, but it just the dullest thing ever to play against.
Oh no, I'd love it. But then I am a bit strange like that.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good list. It has its weaknesses, but it needs playing. You need to play it. You need to be on board with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it is just skinks. It can soon fall apart.
Soon collapse, can't it? To be honest, very similar to the Dark Elf army that we were using a while ago.
And
that people hated.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
What else do you think? I mean, I'm tipping the vampires. I've seen Dan Elan's been using a very good vampire build, and although he's not going, I imagine similar builds will be there.
Yeah.
This is the Vanel's dance spam. Just a lord casting it on 2 dice again and again and again.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get a double 1, he's golden, isn't he?
Yeah. And it's just so difficult to stop that much movement. Your army moves forward 8 inches in the magic phase. So when you're playing against it and you're measuring the charge distances to see what you need to stay out of to not get charged, it's 20 inches and more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a hell of a long way. Cause,
do you not think that could fall foul though? As good as it is, you know, if you do double 1, if you do roll really low on the Winds of Magic, on that
No,
turn?
because the turn normally you'd only need one unit to charge,
Okay.
and the turn that you do roll badly, the Master of the Black Arts plus 2 dice, you parry up to adds a dice, plus you've rolled more dice than what your opponent's getting dispel. It's actually better to roll low
Okay, yeah, I can see
because
that, yeah.
it's a bigger
Yeah, yeah.
difference.
Yeah, if you roll 4, he's getting 2, you're getting what, 6?
Yep,
No, 5.
5. And
Yeah.
you're chucking it twice on 2 dice,
Yeah,
and you're chucking it once on 1 dice on 3 plus.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it is really, really tough. I mean, Dan was running the double wraiths as well, which was quite nasty. A lot of armies just still can't deal with them.
No.
I mean, a lot of armies can really easily, but because they're only 2 units of 3, they're so little points. It doesn't matter if your opponent can deal with them. And the Varghulf, oh man, the Varghulf, it thunderstorms.
Thunderstorm.
Yeah, it thunderstorms. But anyway, the vampires I think were really strong. Whether they'll win it, don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think the demons,
The 40 horrors are going to be out in strong,
the
aren't
big
they?
units.
Out in strength.
I think just getting points off it
Yeah.
is so difficult.
Big blocks, lots of heralds, 3 or 4 heralds.
Yeah.
Double flamers, which are harder now than they ever were.
I think one interesting thing is they're running all 6 scenarios, aren't they?
Yes, that will be good to see how that pans out in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things.
Also, I wonder if they're going to do them in order of...
Yep, they're all in order.
Are they? So
Yep.
Watchtower's last.
Watchtower's last, so if you go in and you want to do well, you need to take the tools to deal with the Watchtower.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yep, definitely interesting. And also, it means the Fortitude mission is the Saturday night one, so you might be able to get done quick and go for a beer.
Well, that's another thing as well.
'Cause it's
because
4 games on
four
Saturday.
games on Saturday. I think a bit of stamina is required.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
So no getting drunk by 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's not happening. I've got a fucking griffin.
Okay, as for players rather than armies, what do you think? There's some big names. There's a lot of the Masters from last year all go in. A lot of the top 10 from this year are going.
Yep.
So, do you think it'll be the same lineup as last year?
Probably. Depends on how serious they've taken it.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? I know a lot of people have been a little bit put off and a little bit down on it. But I don't know. I think if people have put the work in, Dan especially has played an awful lot of games
But he's not coming.
and tweaked that army, but he's not going.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? He must be kicking himself,
Oh, I bet he is.
It's great, isn't
it? Yeah.
So I think it could be very interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be very interesting. So, are we going to have some predictions? So, do you want to name an army to win? Do you want to make the call now?
I'll go with demons.
You're going to go for demons for first place.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for dark elves.
You think you're going to win, don't you?
I don't think I'm going to win, but I think they've got the tools to win.
Whoa. Really? You don't think you're going to win? So it's not all about you today?
Watch power, game 6. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
I think they've got
yeah.
the tools to win. I certainly think they're competitive still. They've got all the... It's certainly in the scoring system of only needing a few hundred points for a win. The death magic on the level 4, a lot of shooting. You'll be able to take out your opposition support units quickly.
Yeah.
And big power combat units, the Blackguard, the Executioners, the Cold One Knights. It's all there. It's all there. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's my prediction. So
How do you think the Griffin's going to go?
the Griffin, I think, is going to survive every game because you're going to be scared to use him.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
I don't think you should take him. I think you should be rocking the War Walter and the level 4. So, talking of the Empire
Yeah.
armies, what do you think you'll see with the Empire?
A war or a level 4.
Do you think everyone's going to be going for the cannons, or do you think mortars are going to be showing, or both?
I think both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd take.
And engineers everywhere.
Engineers will be everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, so
For for 65 points, it makes your war machine so
Yeah.
much better.
of course,
Even be tempted with pigeon bombs.
yeah, it's just another shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another template, which now is horrid.
Yeah, definitely.
And also as well, because you don't need any order now, you can do it. You can fire your war machine. If you don't need to use your engineer, you can chuck his pigeon bomb.
Yep.
You can keep him out of range so it only hits him.
See, this is one of the reasons why I would predict Skaven as first place. However, I think the Empire and the Dwarfs have probably got the match of the Skaven, and I'm kind of hoping they'll sort of take each other out.
I think even more so now. if I'm honest.
Yeah, more templates.
More templates, yeah. But then bigger units, I don't know.
It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And cider's £1.50.
Yeah, all day, Saturday, all weekend.
I might be a bit of a mess,
Yeah,
if I'm
probably.
honest.
Okay, so on that note, we will be recording all weekend at Warrington.
Yep. We've got a little table to set up, haven't we?
Yep, Ant's been kind enough to find us some space to get a recording tackle set up. So we're recording. Come over and say hi if you listen to this on the way up to
Come on, meet the
Warrington.
Bens.
Meet the Ben. I've lost my banner. Man,
Can I point out, you lost the banner.
I left it in Germany. Yeah, so now I'm going to have another one made.
Our nice Gazzini, who made us that banner, and you lost it.
Yeah, left it in Germany.
I gave it you once. It's been at my house, safe and sound.
The problem is, right, when we had the banner saying Meet the Bens on it, and everyone was laughing, saying it was quite pretentious, I was saying, well, I didn't make it. It was given to us, so I've got to use it. Now, when I actually have the same one made again...
Then it really is
it will
quite
be me.
pretentious. Yeah.
It will be all me. Okay, so on that note, I think we're going to depart. So just another quick shout out to all the sponsors. Thanks for being on board again. So we've got Battle Foam, obviously, coming in for the first show. So thanks to them guys. Be sure to check them out, battlefoam.com. Rankings HQ, check them guys out. Check out all the rankings. Should be some big updates coming after the Warlords GT.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be...
Because a lot of the top places are carrying points from them, aren't they? Okay.
Not me. Well, a bit.
Unseen Lurker, them guys are at the event. Brian's going to be there. Bobo is rumoured to be showing his face.
Never
You're shaking your
happened.
head. You're not so sure.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Back to Basics. Check them out at base-ix.com. A bit of a mouthful for all your basing goodness. And last but certainly not least, Og Games. Be sure to check them out for pretty much anything you could possibly want wargaming related. 15% off all Games Workshop tackle. And get your magnets there while you're at it. That's it. Buy your models and buy your magnets at the same time. Because it's the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Magnets.
Oh, yeah, man. having magnetized the Empire army and now Skaven army, I'd never not.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't.
Okay, so that's it for another episode. Thanks for listening. See you all at Warrington if you go in, and we'll catch you next time on the Bad Dice Podcast.
Ta-ra.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by Ben and Ben Productions. If you actually enjoyed the show and feel the need to tell other people about it, you can leave a positive review on iTunes. You can contact both your hosts at thebens@baddice.co.uk, or you can contact us individually on Ben Curry at baddice.co.uk or Ben Johnson at baddice.co.uk. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Bad Dice Podcast.